Well, welcome to the next edition here of the Entrepreneurial Insights with Dr. As you know, we always try to bring some of the finest minds to share their knowledge with us. And so we have a great opportunity today. We have with us Ben Lytle. Ben, I'm going to read you a little bit of his bio just so you know the extent to which he really is someone that we believe can share his knowledge with us. But Ben is a self-made serial entrepreneur-CEO, known for being ahead of the curve. That's something very special about him. He has launched 7 successful companies, including 2 that were listed on the New York Stock Exchange, creating billions in market value. The best known, of course, is Anthem, a Fortune 100 company with a market value of over $100 billion. He's a healthcare policy expert. He served on state and presidential healthcare commissions. He's a governance leader with extensive public company experience, a senior athlete, a world traveler, a father of 3 children, and a grandfather to 8 grandchildren, which is really terrific. Ben's devotion to individual and collective human potential through accelerated wisdom guides his leadership, his parenting, his writing, his speaking, his entrepreneurial energy, which I can attest to, and his investments. He believes that people and organizations today underestimate the extent and speed with which they and the world are changing and how they can adapt to thrive. Opportunities are being missed, and unnecessary suffering will result unless prompt action is taken. He wrote an initial book called The Potentialist, Your Future in the New Reality of the Next 30 Years, as a guide to success through the wiser, timely actions and decisions in the opportunity-rich, turbulent times ahead. But now, in his highly anticipated and now here, his second book in the series of The Potentialist, he has The Potentialist, The Pursuit of Wisdom. Ben offers a practical guide to unleash potential and accelerate decision-making wisdom that is vital during this period of the greatest change in human history. So it's a true honor for me to welcome Ben Lytle to our show here today, and also to really have the opportunity to share a couple of key questions with him so we can get his knowledge based on some of this. So Ben, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Don. It's great to be with you. We've known each other for so many years, and it's great to spend time together.
It's scary how far back we go.
Yeah, it is.
So first thing I think we try to cover these short insights in anywhere, from 12 to 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I guess the first question, going back to your CEO days,
right,
which I should mention to the audience, when you first took over as CEO of Anthem, you were the youngest CEO in the history of Fortune 500 companies, which is truly remarkable.
Right.
Taking that over. But in all those years, 20 years of being the CEO and with that company, share with us some of your proud moments, some of the things that you're really proud that you did and accomplished as I know, as an innovator inside that organization.
Well, I think the first was the incredible support which you witnessed mm-hmm. By not just the executives or the board, but the employees. The employees really got behind this concept of building, in effect, a super Blue Cross company, mm-hmm. and taking it public and mm-hmm. being successful and competing with the likes of United and Aetna,
right.
and we certainly did that. And so their enthusiasm and support was priceless, and I still stay in touch with many of them. Another one that was surprising but wonderful mm-hmm. was when you convert a mutual insurance company from like Anthem was mm-hmm. or before, you have to figure out who at the IPO who gets the money. Mm-hmm. And you hire these actuarial consultants, and really the CEO and the board and the management team really has no say in it. It's pretty much what that actuarial comes out, because they have to figure out who contributed most to building the company over time.
Okay.
Well, in Indiana at least, and I believe also Kentucky, when we did the demutualization, mm-hmm. it turned out it was the elderly. Because they had people would tend to buy a Medicare supplement policy
right.
with the company, and then they would keep it forever. I mean, I've done the same thing. I bought mine. I've never changed. Uh-huh. And that those build up. They contribute their premiums, and even though they'll have claims, as a business, it contributes to the building of the assets.
Right.
So these folks, many of them got, and they got the option for stock or cash,
Okay.
or both.
Uh-huh.
But if they took cash, they got somewhere between $40, $50, $60, $70,000, and it was usually a couple. And I remember we had many of them showing up at the office and saying, "Don't take our Blue Cross away. We don't want this check." And we said, no. You get to keep your Blue Cross and the check. And it was a wonderful, I couldn't have dreamed of a better outcome.
Right. To see those people so satisfied, so shocked at how.
Yeah, that's
how
right,
great-
because they're the people who can use that money, and,
Yeah.
and of course they went out and bought things, and some of them did, and it helped the Indiana economy and Kentucky economy, Ohio economy too. So yeah, it's a great deal.
It's fantastic. After 20 years of doing that, though, you made a really a remarkable decision
Right.
to not continue. Could you speak to that, making the transition to say, okay, I'm now going to leave the corporate world that I've been in and so involved in,
Right.
and now I'm going to go towards the entrepreneurial side of things.
Yeah, well, first of all, I was an entrepreneur before, and I brought that entrepreneur because I had built a company on my own before. I came to there, and small company, but it was a beginning.
Yeah.
And I'd always had that entrepreneurial drive. That's what made me want to do something with the company, that it could be a lot more than it was. But that was corporate entrepreneurship.
Sure.
But I really wanted to. There were several things I wanted to do, and I had been really looking for a long time of what do I want to do after corporate life. And so I knew pretty well what it was, and I had to just someday pull the trigger. And it really wasn't fair for me to surprise anybody with this. And so I made a decision to go into corporate, to what I called refinement, which is now I want to do some things I want to do. Because, a CEO of a public company, it's a terribly demanding job. You just, between spending the time on the street and spending the time in your corporate obligations and the industry obligations, you don't get a lot of time to run the business. And I like running the business. I like building and running business. So I decided my oldest son wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I had schooled him on it, and I kept telling him, "You're not ready. You have to learn the craft of business." And he'd gone out and built a good success for himself. He had been with Xerox 10 years, and knew how to sell and sold the high-end printers and stuff there. And then later went with CVS and had run a small business unit there. I said to him one day, "I think you're ready." Yeah. So I wanted to go into business with them. Also, I had one grandchild. I knew I was getting ready to have a bunch because I looked in my kids' eyes, and so I wanted to be part of their life. I wanted to be there and be involved in their life throughout their lives. And the truth of the matter is, it's very hard to do and run a public company. You can do it, but it's going to be limited. And I wanted to be able to see them much more frequently than that and have more control of my time. I wanted to travel the world, but not a week or two at a time, but to go somewhere and stay for a month or two, and really, and I did that. Learned to speak Italian, and so it was one of that. And then fitness. You and I are both fitness freaks, and I wanted to keep optimal health throughout my life, and I've been able to do that. And so those were the things that I wanted to achieve.
Yeah. And now in the entrepreneurial world, what are some of the things you're really working on now, state of the art? Because, as we read in your bio, you are the person that's ahead of the curve. You always have been.
Yep.
And I'm sure you still will be.
Yeah. Well, long before ChatGPT was announced, I mean, I knew I'd been an IT guy. I came up through information technology. My son Larry also was a Purdue grad in technology and worked at Lilly's in IT. Later went into financial planning as a career. But so we're kind of a tech-oriented. I'd say tech and healthcare is really our two areas of family interest. And so I launched with Larry an AI company. But we were trying to do a very special kind of AI, which does deep learning. And these are bounded models, so you don't have to worry about you can control accuracy much more, and you can make them consistent in their answers, which is impossible if you're using ChatGPT or any of the others. And so, and we focused in on education first initially, but we're also doing research into healthcare and also enabling people to leave a legacy of their life experience if they choose for their, so maybe so that their great-great-grandchildren they will never see can talk to them and see what they can learn.
Phenomenal.
But also, if they want to, if it's a choice, that they would share that and let people who are struggling with problems, if they had a specific problem, hear how they solved it. So this is an exciting idea, and it's something that I believe will someday become a cultural norm. That we'll learn as a society that it's better than giving money to give your life experience to future generations. And a lot of people think, well, I didn't do anything special. Every day's special. You make decisions every day, and every decision's something you can learn from. And that's something that you can share with people, and how you formed your values, the mistakes you make. I mean, we all learn from our mistakes. How about letting our grandkids learn from them? You know, so anyway, it's a fun thing. We're very close to cash flow break even this year. Very few companies, as you know, in AI have done that. So we're getting somewhere, and we're very proud of what we're doing.
Yeah, it should be. How powerful that can be.
I think it can be a game changer.
Yeah, I would agree. That's incredible.
And it's going to be very price effective. That's the other thing. The way our CEO rather has engineered it, and he's a brilliant guy named Lytle Hensley. Is that this is a self-curating process, and so it's going to be very cost-effective for people to use. Because that's one of the things, if it's an elitist tool, then we didn't accomplish anything.
Well, that's fantastic. So, so speaking of the futuristic type things here, so let's shift we went from CEO to entrepreneur, and now author. And so tell us a little bit about the Potentialist and the beginnings of that and where it's going as far as what you're trying to get across.
Well, the being ahead of the curve was really the result of two avocations that came together when I was a young man. The first one was looking at the future. I went crazy actually over. I'm an avid reader. I read tons of books every year, and I always have been. And when I was in high school, I just fell in love with science fiction. Couldn't get enough of it, and I'd read that. And then I later learned in college about futurists, and futurists are serious analytical people who try to achieve the same thing, kind of predict where things are headed, but using analytics. So that became an avocation. So I follow news feeds, innovation feeds. I attend those kind of conferences. I do those kinds of things, and always have. The other is the potential. And what happened there was I took this class when I was in a summer class. I didn't know anything about it. It was an elective. And a professor there introduced me to the concept of human potential, that really when we talk about self-actualization, we're talking about achieving our individual potential and living that. And what happens when you do that, you tend to become wise. Living to your potential makes you become wise. Becoming wiser makes you live to your potential. And so it builds this cycle, and you're basically using this innate mechanism in you that everybody really has, that they may not have tapped into, that wants to live to its potential. Because every living creature on earth, we share that with. You know, plants, animals, bunny rabbits, they're all driven to live a full life, but it's instinct. We're the only creature that, as far as we know, actually has a choice. And so you have to make the choice. And so it became my North Star. I look at the entire world through the lens of potential. Each person, each idea, each entrepreneurial opportunity as, what could this be? Could it work? And I'm constantly asking myself, why? What if? And my favorite word, imagine. Imagine. And that's how you do it. That's
Yeah.
what a potentialist is. And then, these books came about because I realized about 10 years ago that what's coming is the period of, so we're in it now,
Yeah.
the period of greatest change in human history. There's been nothing like it. And it's a convergence of change forces like democratization and like population decline and technologies. And so these technologies and these change forces come together and boom, you get an acceleration. Much like if you watch a river, rivers converge, what happens? It speeds up and there's rapids. But in the end, you have a much more big, powerful river. And that's what's happening to the human race right now. And so I wanted to describe with these times ahead, what's coming, what's this new reality going to look like, and how do you adapt to it? How do you adapt and succeed? And I studied, which I had done a lot of studying before, about these times of great change, the Renaissance, the Enlightenment, the Industrial Revolutions, and who won and who lost and why. And the people who won were the people who saw it, looked at it opportunistically, and seized that opportunity. The people who were afraid, oh, it's changed, I'm afraid of it, or who tried to deny it, or, oh, that's not going to be a big deal, they didn't do so well. And we don't have to have those people lose this time. So I wrote the books to try to help, it's written in very plain language. They're not hard to read. And I use a lot of examples so that people can grasp this. This is not hard. It is possible to adapt and thrive, and you thrive by reaching your potential and becoming wise.
It's interesting. I speak so much about an entrepreneurial mindset that I've always believed in. And it seems like it dovetails right into what you're talking about as a potentialist. That mindset of looking at what possibly can be, as opposed to what can't be. So really remarkable.
Yeah, it definitely did. And I never intended to write a book. And obviously, you don't write books these days to make money. I always remember how do you become a millionaire? Well, you be a billionaire and buy an airplane. Well, the same thing, you become you want to lose $100,000, write a book. So these are not money making enterprises. This is a passion to try to help as many people as I can this time through this one succeed and prosper, and it's not hard. It's amazingly easy to become wiser and reach your potential than you might think.
As I think of your career, CEO, entrepreneur, author, you use the word passion, and I've witnessed you. I think your passion has driven you in all those three phases.
Absolutely.
I really believe that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know how. I don't do it if I don't have a passion for it. And particularly at our age, we just don't do it, right?
How true. Yeah. Well, Ben, it's been a real pleasure having you here.
Thank you,
to share some of these thoughts, and I hope our audience watching this has picked up on some of these nuances that Ben has been talking about. But really, obviously, we are so grateful to have Ben Lytle here, who's obviously was a great CEO, has become a great entrepreneur, and now is a great author. And I guess I would end by saying, and always a great friend.
Absolutely.
And I treasure that.
Me too. Thank you, Don.
Thank you so much, Ben.
You bet.
And thank all of you for watching. We'll see you next time on the Entrepreneurial Insights with Dr. K.